When you take a look at crude prices, WTI crude's now down at 73.50. Well, we'll call it 61 right now. Big questions about what's going on in China and elsewhere. But right now, we want to get over to Brian Sullivan because he's in the Netherlands as part of his week-long series on Europe's energy crisis. Brian.
Andrew, thank you. Yeah, we talked a lot about oil on Monday, natural gas yesterday. We'll hit natural gas in just a second as well again. But let's talk about what some say is the fuel of the future. Others might disagree. Listen, you guys, I think, nailed it in your debate before the break. There's so much debate and discussion, not about climate, whatever, but about what's the best thing for the environment. Where do we put our billions of dollars? There's even debate about whether or not, quote, fossil fuel companies should be the ones that are investing in switching out to non-fossil fuel sources. But, of course, they're the ones that have the money, that are making the money. So Shell is committed to about a third of its global income to investing in fuels and sources of the future. Now, we can debate hydrogen, okay? But hydrogen, Shell is obviously not debating it. They're putting billions of dollars into hydrogen. That is ultimately what is happening here, guys. Right now, it's what they call grayish blue hydrogen. Okay, gray hydrogen is taking coal and methane and making it hydrogen. That's been around for over 100 years. So-called blue hydrogen is basically gaseous coal or converting it or using natural gas to hydrogen. And then green hydrogen is the ultimate goal here, which is gigantic offshore wind farms, about 30 kilometers. I don't know what a kilometer is, but 30 kilometers offshore producing a lot of electricity that would then power most of this plant, which then extracts hydrogen and carbon dioxide, basically separates them, and then the hydrogen ultimately is used for feedstocks, and then ultimately maybe down the road will be used as fuel. Now, there are knocks on hydrogen, guys. I know that. It's not an energy source. It's kind of just a form of a battery. It's expensive. It's hard to ship outside of a pipeline, but they know that. Shell is going to be using this to ship the pipeline to Europe because the goal is this. It's not just about climate. It's also about energy security. And we talk about, Joe, you were hitting on sort of the idea that Putin had Europe in his grasp, which might have probably emboldened him to start the war. And I think a lot of people would agree with that, certainly getting off those types of needs full time. And in that vein, this morning, kind of quietly, the U.S. and the U.K. announced the deal where they're going to double U.S. LNG exports into the U.K. The U.K. is still extremely natural gas reliant. So honestly, the U.S. and, the White House and President Biden kind of going all in on fossil fuels and U.S. natural gas. Europe going the other way.
The energy transition will be executed by the existing players as well as by new players. So we have great trust in Shell, Exxon, Air Liquide, Air Products, BP, that have all confirmed they wish to become energy and carbon neutral by 2050. So they will be joining us on this journey.
Okay, that was the CEO of the Port of Rotterdam who we spoke to. He's kind of popped up out of nowhere. But anyway, listen, you hear the names he mentioned, Shell, BP, Air Liquide, guys. So the big players of for the past 100 years are going to be the ones like Shell. They're going to be they have the money and the intellectual capital, the know-how and the effort to transition to things like a hydrogen.